talks, Trump's Strait warning has now come in. As far as the Strait of Hormuz is concerned, which has been a headache for President Trump in the last 40 days since Iran promptly shut it. And now he's been saying that it is in international waters and Iran cannot monetize the Strait of Hormuz. It should be open and still is open as far as the warning that he seems to be now giving to Iran, saying that Iran has been militarily defeated and they will not allow Iran to toll the Strait of Hormuz.
Well, I wish him luck. He's got a big thing. We'll find out what's going on. They're militarily defeated, and now we're going to open up the Gulf with or without him. But that'll be open. We're going to be, or the Strait as they call it, and I think it's going to go pretty quickly. And if it doesn't, we'll be able to finish it off. One way or the other, it's going well. The Navy's gone, the Air Force is gone, all anti-aircraft is gone, the leaders are gone, the whole place is gone. So we'll see how it turns out. So it's JD and Steve and Jared. They have a good team, and they meet tomorrow. We'll see how it all works out.
You're not going to let them toll the Strait, are you? I mean, it's international.
No, we're not going to let that. It's international water. If they're doing that, nobody knows if they're doing that, but if they're doing that, we're not going to let that happen.
All right, let's go ahead and get connected with Mayank on this. Mayank, good morning. For the viewers joining here on the broadcast, let's get them a basic understanding of what has happened in the last few hours. As far as now Pakistan is the one that all attention are now on these Islamabad peace talks. What has happened till now?
Yes, I mean, people are, the talks are still awaited to begin. But the teams have, as far as Iran is concerned, they have brought in a huge team, and which includes people from all spheres, including the banks and monetary systems from the Iran side. And it is significant. We'll talk about it later. And J.D. Vance, the vice president from the US, is soon to arrive that side. And it is expected that by afternoon, maybe, in Islamabad, the talks, very, very important talks, wherein not only it encompasses the Middle East, but the ripples of it can be felt across the globe. So that's why it is so important. And there are certain sore points on which there are deals going on, and that will be the deciding factors. As far as the 3 for the viewers, we can talk about them straight away: is Lebanon, enrichment of uranium, and third, Strait of Hormuz. These become the most important points. But also to signify and underline is that Iran, for them, it is do or die in case of Lebanon, and they had been asking that Israel should stop all kind of operations on Lebanon, and in a way they are saying that it should be against should stop the...
Well, because both sides were refusing to budge. Both sides wanted their conditions to be met. Both sides now say that there are certain preconditions that have also been set. Iran says that its preconditions have now been accepted. However, when it comes to those preconditions, there is no confirmation on part of the US side. And when we take a look, what was the situation of the world before 28th of February, 40 days before, and now 40 days later, is a new world order has now set in, especially when it comes to this very narrow Strait of Hormuz. There you can see, because barely less than 10 ships, as of today, what we are now looking at when the ceasefire was announced, has been able to cross the Strait of Hormuz. Let's in the meantime talk about what was the world order before. The Strait of Hormuz, largely free global passage as far as 20% of the crude oil and gas that used to freely, travel through this narrow strait. After what we are now looking at with the Strait of Hormuz has been blocked right after this war began. Oil prices relatively stable. What was said, it was below the $100 mark, and then it skyrocketed. High, volatility, even touching nearly $120 per barrel mark, is something that was also witnessed during the war. Before, Iran was under heavy sanctions, especially of the United States. This is one of the conditions in that 10-point proposal that it is set forth, and some sanctions on Iran to be lifted. Well, we'll see if US agrees to that. What has now been said that Iran is willing to negotiate the nuclear program, because the talks were on, especially in Geneva, when US and Israel had jointly launched strikes on Tehran. Iran, however, refuses now to halt the uranium enrichment activities. Now, this will now become even a bigger threat, because the US believes that Iran right now is in no position to even be close to having or getting together a nuclear weapon. Now, Iran was governed by a supreme leader, that was Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, for several decades. However, on the first day of the war itself, he was killed. And now more military control, especially when it comes to the IRGC, that seems to be taken over when it comes to the decision making. There are several layers of hierarchy that also seems to be now in control, with the new supreme leader Mojtaba Khamenei now in place. However, till date, he hasn't made any physical appearance yet. Let's listen in.
Well, I wish him luck. He's got a big thing. We'll find out what's going on. They're militarily defeated, and now we're going to open up the Gulf with or without him. But that'll be open. We're going to be, or the Strait as they call it, and I think it's going to go pretty quickly. And if it doesn't, we'll be able to finish it off one way or the other. It's going well. The Navy's gone, the Air Force is gone, all anti-aircraft is gone, the leaders are gone, the whole place is gone. So we'll see how it turns out. So it's JD, it's Steve, and Jared. They have a good team, and they meet tomorrow. We'll see how it all works out.
You're not going to let them toll the Strait, are you? I mean, it's international.
No, we're not going to let that. It's international water. If they're doing that, nobody knows if they're doing that. But if they're doing that, we're not going to let that happen.
In the meantime, let's talk about what the US has been saying. You heard President Trump's Strait of Hormuz will be open, but the tensions still remain over that narrow passage, because especially when it comes to Iran, that has been unable to open the Strait of Hormuz to more shipping traffic because it cannot locate all of the mines that it laid in the waterway and lacks the capability to remove them. And this is now, according to US officials, that is being shared. And the development is one of the reasons that Iran has not been able to quickly comply with Trump administration's admonitions that led to more traffic pass through the strait, and it potentially also is a very complicating factor as the Iranian negotiators and the US delegation led by Vice President JD Vance will be meeting in Pakistan for peace talks. So, I mean, look at this complication, Mayank. Laid down mines in deep sea, but don't know how to retrieve it. I mean, this is another risky point, not just even for today, don't even know the number of mines. So what happens in the near future? Even if an Iranian tanker passes through the Strait of Hormuz, they too are now in danger.
In fact, it becomes very sensitive in the sense that it is a very narrow passage. Already it's a narrow passage. And even if few ships get sunk there, it will make the movement and passage a bit unviable. And we have already felt when the movement of traffic was stopped, how it has affected the whole globe. In one way or the other, the whole globe has got encompassed into this thing. While the explosives fall in Middle East, the ripples are being felt everywhere, just because Strait of Hormuz was closed. Now, about mines, it really is sensitive because no one knows what kind of mines are there. I mean, there are floating mines also which can travel anywhere. And there are mines which can be tethered, which can be with the base seabed. And there are also trigger mines. Even if something is moving and it touches the mine, it can blast. So it is an interesting psyop in a way. I mean, I would like to see it like that people would be scared, and merchant vessels mind it. They are high value vessels, very high value vessels. I mean, very large containers, very large ship, and which can be oil, gas, trade, commerce. It is massive thing. And so talking about mines in a way. And now you have brought out that there is no capability that side that they can be removed from those places. So one can understand the kind of issue it can create and the scare it can create. So it can be a psyop also, but if it has happened really, people would be definitely wary of doing it. And mind it, Strait of Hormuz remains the point of discussion on which both sides are still sticking.
Yes. So is this what, irreversible thing that Iran has now done? I mean, it knew how to deploy, but it doesn't know how to take it back. It doesn't even know the numbers there. That is where what we are looking at is the maximum risk there. Even when it comes to the entire area to be cleared, because this is what the deep sea that we are talking about. Because on the, Hormuz conundrum, Iran is unable, according to reports, to find those mines that it had laid on the seabed. So what is the influence that we are now looking on those mines there, and what does it mean for Iran and potential threats? Because it can be triggered by sound or magnetic fields, and it is hidden on the seabed. So how would it be tracked in the first place? Because Iran apparently does not have that kind of capabilities. Now, there are also limpet mines. Let's talk about them. I mean, divers can, attach them to ship's hull and it causes a delayed explosion. But can that be helped in the first place? Then there are mood mines. These are sensor-based explosives as well. And these are used to choke the narrow waterways. Already, we are looking at the very narrow waterway of this passage of Strait of Hormuz. Then there are bottom mines. They lie on the seabed and they rely mainly on sensors. So when the containers pass, on the waters, and it contains much larger explosive charges as well. So what are we now looking at as far as these risks are concerned? Because this is the real threat and this is the real danger. Naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz and the potential threats. That's what we are now looking at, because let's in the meantime take a look at these pictures that have been coming in. Oh, there you can see grandstanding on part of Pakistan, already a two-day holiday, a chutti that has now been announced, because this is what Pakistan can do best as far as when it comes to the security situation is also concerned. We have seen that updates that have been coming in from Pakistan side, because it was trying very hard in its very desperate position to project itself as a peacemaker, and that is where the irony lies. And this is not something that we are also saying because this is an established fact, but this is coming in from their own leadership. And we just saw the now deleted post of Khwaja Asif, their defense minister, because the very neutral stand of Pakistan has been questioned, and rightly so. How can a country which is a terror state, a rogue state, is now talking about peace and rather now fielding itself as Field Marshal Asim Munir now for a Nobel Peace Prize? Well, President Trump now has competition. Because pictures that have been now coming in, the Iranian delegation comprising of nearly 70 members, which have now reached Islamabad, this is also on part of the Iranian side, was not confirmed till the last minute, because Iranian media reports were suggesting that till the time their preconditions are not met, they will not be heading to Islamabad. Now, Iranian embassy seems to be suggesting that the preconditions have been met. What are those preconditions? They wanted preconditions, especially when it comes to the US sanctions. They wanted preconditions when it comes to Lebanon as well. Has US agreed to that? Well, that remains to be seen exactly what happens when a delegation which is led by Vice President J.D. Vance lands in Islamabad. Pictures coming in, Islamabad talks. There you can see the preparations that has been taking place, because this is more like an Islamabad-Pakistan event rather than bringing the two warring sides together on the same table to talk. We're going to head into a very short break.